Right, here's a completely unique record. It was made as a retirement present for a member of the staff at the HMV, his master's voice record factory in Hayes Middlesex. And as you can see, it says February 23rd 1973, retirement, in appreciation to Jimmy Perryman. And it's got something like the presentation disc by the Sausage and Mash fraternity. Must have been their little sort of sort of in-joke thing, fraternity. And that's the back of it, and it says Jimmy Perryman, or Tiddler, that must have been his nickname, as he is affectionately known by some of his friends, started working for the company at a tender age of 14 years or so, and now 50.5 years later is going to retire. In appreciation of his long association with the company, the Sausage and Mash fraternity put on record their good wishes for the future. This recording is a typical distortion of sounds, which one has come to expect from the fraternity production. This record, in all probability, will be as big as a smash as the last one, and the last one was certainly smashed. Nevertheless, whatever it may lack in technical and artistic presentation, it does not lack in its sincerity and the purpose to provide Jim with some memories of his associations during his working years. Lovely, isn't it? Imagine that, working at the HMV factory, and they make a whole record for you. What they did basically, I think, was go around with a cassette recorder and sort of get his friends to leave little messages. And some of the humour was sort of Goons style humour. It was obviously that generation that loved the Goons. And this is that's side one. And on the other side, I've got to turn this over very carefully, not to scratch it. Is look at that now. Side two. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see see if we can get the light on it. You can see these lovely engravings. Completely unique. It says do not play this side, it's just a blank side, and it's got it says his master's voice records, and it's got these the nipper and the gramophone symbol, the Burno painting that was based upon a French artist who HMV bought the painting of and became their logo. You can see that's the representation of the original painting, and I'll just put a bit on for you, play a little bit, just to give you a sort of idea of what it sounds like without scratching it. There we go. There's a nice little bit where one of the I think his niece, or not his niece, his granddaughter reads a little poem. I don't know if I've got the right spot, but we'll put it down here and just have a quick listen. We use all sorts of sounds from the archive as well, HMV archive.
Introducing for the very first time two personalities who've been in the circus for more years than they care to remember, the two memory men, George Polk and Don Woodward.
Jim, as one of the trio of short asses from the old fourth floor, greetings. I join everyone in sending you best wishes and particularly good health for the future. When you're sitting with your bit of string and bent nail, think of us. May all your tiddlers be whaled.
Jim Perryman, A.E., Angler Extraordinaire, the Percy Thrower of Hillingham. First, let me wish you a most happy retirement. This angling proficiency must have sprung from a love of fishing at a very early age, when you were catching tiddlers. Little did you realise then that the gramophone company would, in later years, be catching the biggest tiddler of them all. I'm sure your absence from the scene will be felt by us all, but by me in particular, because provided I stood on a fairly thick mat, you were the only one left I could really look down on. Joking apart, all the best, George.
to you the star of the stage musical Half a Sixpence, whose favourite song, You Can't Take It With You, So Why Not Leave It With Me, is well known throughout the circus, Phil Johnson.
It's a hail and farewell to one of the nicer characters in the record factory, a character that's been around, as far as I'm concerned, since I first started here in 1928. I still remember walking up in the old third floor machine factory and seeing Jim with his mop of red hair, part of which he's still got, leaning over, bashing away at the springs on auto brakes. Well, that's a long time ago, and we've our paths have crossed many times since. He was working in the bake line moulding under the kindly and benevolent eye of Joe Blandall, and other places since. Anyway, Jim, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a pleasure knowing you, but I'm rather pleased to see you go anyway, because for two reasons. Mainly, I suppose, because I shan't have this moan every month about being £10 overpaid or £25 overpaid. There's not many people realise what a conscience you've got, and that you fully realise that you're overpaid for the work you've been doing. The other reason why I'm pleased to see you go is that I know you're going to enjoy your retirement so much. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a question of hello to you and Helen, and goodbye, and may you both thoroughly enjoy your last 20 or 30 years. Cheerio, Jim.
Lords, ladies and gentlemen, bringing to you for the very first time in a circus anywhere in the world, the voices of those two well-known performers, Ron Rowe and Cyril Gadbury.
Come in, Jim. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Gadbury.
How are things?
Oh, not so bad. Fred's being bloody awkward again. When is he going to work some overtime? Everybody else does except Fred. But that's not what I came in to see you about. It's that Jack Wheeler. He wants me to over-order on everything just to keep his department on overtime. I reckon one pair of stampers for 10,000 is plenty.
Just a minute, Jim. Let's get back to your first statement. Labels. We haven't decided what to do with Fred yet. We have more or less thought about him working for John Tagg. We should get some labels then.
Speaking of labels, Taggy's using far too many these days. Just walk in the press room, all the way round the bloody floor. In my days we had to pick them up and sharpish. These blokes get away with murder.
Look, Jim, let's have a chat about your retirement. When do you want to go? You've been a temporary operator for 51 years. Hold on a minute. Let's go over to the personnel department.
Mr. Flower, we've brought Mr. Perryman over to see you because he's insisting on retiring this month.
Who's Perryman?
What? He's one of our senior foremen. He's been here 50 odd years.
Well then what's he want to retire for? Trouble with you record factory people, you can never hold your staff long. Has he had his watch?
Yes, and his staff sales voucher. Though he's mumbling something about a theatre and dinner he missed.
Good grief, I do get problems. Oh well, there is very little I can do about that at this stage, unless we keep him on. Now, Mr. Perryman, are you absolutely sure you want to retire? Now, is there nothing that will change your mind? If it helps, I can ask Mr. Gadbury to adopt a more tolerant attitude towards you, or I might even persuade Mr. Rowe to permit you a waste paper basket all of your own, and withdraw his final warning for lateness. Surely with these concessions you would want to continue.
Well, that's all, Jim. If you've got to go, you've got to go. And both Ron and Ray join with me in wishing you and your wife a very happy retirement.
We understand a decision has now been reached, and we are returning you to the director's box.
Friends and relatives of Jim Perryman listening to this disc will by now be utterly confused. This is perfectly excusable, as most of the contributors so far live in a state of perpetual confusion. It is not without significance that Jim's 50 years with EMI have coincided approximately with the BBC's first 50 years. You will know that the BBC celebrated their anniversary with a special Goon programme. The Sausage and Mash fraternity, being skilled in these matters, are attempting, I think, to do likewise. It's normal on these occasions to speak of loyalty in spending such a tremendous long time with a company, but I must speak the truth, which is that one E. Riley has bribed Jim heavily for the last 35 years to stay in order to justify yet another sausage and mash meeting. It is understood that Riley is even now working on our latest apprentice in an attempt to further the cause for many years to come. The whole reason for this disc and the evening that goes with it is, however, for us to pay a tribute to a man who has impressed us who have worked with him with his quiet integrity, his true friendship, his personal loyalty, and his willingness to help anyone in need. There is a danger that tributes such as this can sound very trite on these occasions, but they could not be more richly deserved than they are in this case. The wish of every one of us for Jim Perryman is that he may receive that which he so richly deserves, a very long and very happy retirement.
That's the last sort of 10 minutes of this record. That's the sort of style of it. It wasn't that nice, you know. That was presented to this man who was a foreman at the Hayes Middlesex HMV plant. I think this disc was presented on his evening of retirement, and a nice little thing it is as well. What a beauty! I thought it was unique. I saw it on eBay and I thought, well, must have this because it's a really it's a little bit of history of the great HMV story. Thanks for watching.